Particles are everywhere. Everything is made up of them. You, me, the Pacific Ocean, the planet Jupiter, and they can move about, sometimes loads. Every particle has some energy, which makes it vibrate. This vibration makes it move. Think of what would happen if you put coloured dust particles on a drum and hit it. They'd move too. We call this movement diffusion. Now, they don't think about where they want to move. They don't have a brain or anything like that. Their movement is completely random. However, this randomness means that they eventually spread out because that's the most likely outcome. We call that entropy, but that's a topic for another video. Think of it like this. If I were to spray some aftershave in the corner of the room, a room with no breeze or open windows or fans, eventually someone in the opposite corner of the room could smell it, and someone halfway across the room could smell it before them. This is because the particles of the aftershave have moved randomly and have eventually spread out to fill the whole room evenly. So basically, diffusion is what happens when there's a lot of stuff in one place and it spreads out evenly to fill whatever container it might be in. And what's more, it doesn't need any extra energy to do it. All the energy is in the particles themselves already. What's important to remember is that diffusion only happens in liquids and gases. Solids are rubbish at diffusion because the particles are too attracted to each other to move apart on their own. They don't have enough energy. So from that, we can make a really good scientific definition of diffusion that you could use in a test or an exam or in a class where the teacher keeps asking you awkward questions. You could say diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration down a concentration gradient without the addition of any extra energy. There's a few complicated words there. An area of high concentration is where there are lots of particles in relation to their surroundings. An area of low concentration is where there are fewer particles than in their surroundings. The concentration gradient is just a fancy way of saying the difference in the concentration between the high and the low areas. If you say something moves down a concentration gradient, then you're just saying that it's moving from an area where there's lots of stuff to an area where there's less stuff. So let's repeat that definition one more time. Now you know what the complicated bits mean. Diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration down a concentration gradient without the addition of any extra energy. As we said, this is random. Particles move all over the place, backwards and forwards, without any thought or direction. However, the net movement, which means the resulting movement over time, will be down the concentration gradient and cause the particles to spread out. We can control how fast this happens too. If we reduce the temperature, taking energy away from the particles, they will vibrate less and therefore move less. This slows diffusion down. If we add energy by increasing the temperature, the particles vibrate more, so they move faster, which increases the rate of diffusion. There are other ways to increase diffusion rates, which we'll mention when we talk about it in biological systems like the lungs and the intestines, but for now, that's diffusion. Now, maybe go and impress someone by explaining what diffusion is to them. If you found this useful, maybe give me a like and even consider subscribing for more content like this. See you again next time.